If you've been watching Sam and I's adventures online, then you know that this is an amazing wheelchair and it can take you places you never thought possible. But it's an online purchase. There are 4 sizes and you can't figure out which one's right for you. Well, in this video, I'm going to answer that question. Hey, I'm Ryan, and with me today are 4 Emma X3s. We have a small, a medium, a large, and an extra large all-terrain wheelchair here. And in this video, I'm going to tell you the similarities and the differences between each of these chairs. And then I'm going to break them out one by one and measure it from every angle. And that should help you make a more educated decision about which one of these sizes is right for you. So what do they all have in common? They all have 3 wheels. They all have 2 pins that can be removed that allow the front wheel to fold into the seat. They all have disc brakes. They all use the same tires, the same bearings, the same axles. They can all take wheelchair users places they never imagined they could go. They're all the same width at the rear tires so that they can fit through a standard exterior door. They're all the same length when the front wheel is deployed from the handlebar to the front wheel, except when you get to these larger models. These chairs are slightly higher, and we'll go over why in a minute, but that changes the angle of the front wheel slightly and makes the chair a little bit shorter because that angle of the front wheel is steeper. So what's the major differences between each of the sizes? Well, between the small and the medium, there isn't much difference. They use the exact same frame. The only difference between the small and the medium is that this one is 14.5 inches wide in the seat, and this one is 15.5 inches wide. Other than that, they're exactly the same. And when we go from the medium to the large, things change a little bit more drastically, because not only is the seat another inch wide, but in order to put this larger seat on here and not have it rub against the tires, we had to raise the frame slightly. So this chair is a little bit taller and a little bit wider. So the main differences between the large and the extra large is that not only is it wider still, it's also taller. And one big difference between the extra large and all of the other chairs in this lineup is that we have invented what we call the kicker. When you have a large person in this chair and you have to pop a wheelie in order to make a turn, this gives you the added leverage of popping that wheelie, and then once it's in the air, it has a great balance point where you can keep them up there, or you keep the person up there. And then when you go to lower them down, you don't just have to let it thud down and give the person whiplash. You can lower it easily and gently by keeping your foot on that kicker. Now that you've seen the differences and the similarities, I'm going to break these chairs out one by one, and we're going to talk about the detailed measurements of each chair. So I'm going to start with a small size chair first, and I'm going to measure all of these different angles. Don't worry about trying to keep up, because I'm going to post all of these measurements in a written article that accompanies this video. So if you're watching this on YouTube, go to the video description and click that link, and you can go and see all of these measurements. You don't have to try and write them down while you follow me. But the most important one is that this is 14.5 inches wide. And the chair back is about 34 inches tall. And in between these wings, we have about 11 inches. And these wings, because the chair is aluminum, it can be bent out or they can be pushed in depending on whatever is most comfortable for the person in the chair. Now I'm 5'10" and I weigh 195 pounds, and if I have a large shoehorn, I can still sit in this chair. But it is very tight and I have to wedge myself into it. So this chair is probably best for children whom you don't think are gonna get much bigger than they are now. From the back of the seat to the footrest, we have about 36 inches. Total length of this chair, from where the handlebars touch the wall to the front of this wheel, 74 inches. The height from the ground to the handlebars is 40.5 inches, but those handlebars are adjustable, So they could go up a few inches or down a few inches. The seat at its highest point is about 14 inches off the ground. Because it's reclined, back here it looks like about 11 inches off the ground. When the chair is folded up for storage, the handlebars no longer touch the wall, it's the wheels that are touching the wall. So from the wheels to its widest point, it's about 31 inches, just under 31 inches. And it's 48 inches tall, 4 feet tall. And if you're laying this down inside of the vehicle, you need to make sure that you, first of all, have 4 feet to put it in, but it's also, when it's laying down, 31 inches tall. Okay, so next we have the medium-sized chair, and like I said in the beginning, the difference between the small and the medium is only that the seat is 1 inch wider. So in the interest of time, I'm not going to go through and measure all of this because it's the same. One thing that I just realized I forgot to do was tell everyone how wide it is. So when I put it flush against the wall and measure across from the tires, I get 33 inches. So the chair at its widest point is 33 inches wide. A standard exterior door is 36 inches wide. Once you get it inside, the doors are usually a little bit narrower. So you can't sometimes take it through the doors inside of your house, but it's also so long that it's just hard to navigate in indoor spaces anyway. So if you watched our videos, you've seen Sam and I on lots of adventures. The medium is the chair that Sam has, and I'll just show you what it looks like when a guy who's pushing 200 pounds and is 5'10" sits in one. That's what it looks like. If Sam is so skinny that sometimes his arms are on the inside of these wings. Sometimes that's good, sometimes they come out. But that's how it looks on me. Okay, next we have the large size chair. So the main differences in this, well, it might be a little bit different from the back of the seat to, it's a funny measurement here, but yeah, it's just a little bit shorter than 36, like 35 3/4. Really, so no difference there. At the hips, it's about 16.5 inches wide. At these wings, about 13 inches wide, but remember you can bend or push those as necessary. The seat is taller. So the seat is about 17 inches tall here, and towards the back of the seat, we got, looks like about 16 inches, so not that big of a difference. With the front wheel deployed and handlebars touching the wall, it's about 67 inches long and 42 inches tall at the handlebars. It sits slightly different because the back wheels are taller, that changes the angle of things. But from the back wheels to the front, we have 29 inches, and it is now 47.5 inches tall. If I lay it down so I know how much room I need in my car when it's laid down, I get 30 1/4 inches, 30 1/4. All right, so this is the extra large. You measure it here from the back of the seat to the footrest, and I have 41.5 inches. The seat at the thighs is about 19.5 to 20 inches wide. This one does not have the wings. It's about 19 inches wide here, and from the seat to the top, 37 inches tall. When you're helping someone to sit down in this chair, you gotta realize that the chair is about 20 inches tall here, maybe a few inches lower at the back. It is about 68 inches long with the front wheel deployed. And it's about 44 inches tall at the handlebars there. Now, like all the other X3s, this one also folds in half, but it doesn't fold up quite as well as the others because this seat is much deeper, and when this front section folds in, it hits the front section. So it doesn't fold up quite as well, but you can, it still helps you when you're trying to transport it, and also because of the way this kicker sticks out. I've noticed when I put this in the back of my truck, it just takes up more room than the others. So there's a couple different ways to put things in a truck, put these in a truck, and I'll show you those in a different video. But if I place this against the wall, the first thing that hits is the kicker and not the wheels. So let's see what this measurement comes out to. It's now 32 inches, but down here isn't the widest point. The widest point is up here, and that looks like about 41, 42 inches. So if you're putting this in the back of an SUV or a van, you're just gonna need more space to get it in there. So I wanted to just say one last thing about the wings, as I call them. Some people love these in the chair. Sam, for example, when he's in his chair, if he didn't have these wings, he would fall over to the left or the right, or we'd have to put a harness in his chair. But because of these wings, he doesn't need the harness, where in his everyday wheelchair he does. So, like I said before, they can be bent in or out slightly. Some people love the wings. Some people say the wings make them feel a little cramped. We had one little girl who, she was this skinny little thing, and her shoulders were in here, and she didn't like them. But most people, if you're an adult or teenager, you're going to be big enough that your arms are going to go outside like this, and you're going to be able to hold yourself in place when things are getting crazy. So, what's the best size for you? I know this video was a little bit all over the place, and I felt like you trying to watch me measure stuff wasn't going to be very helpful. So I just wanted to give you some visuals about the difference in the size, and then I suggest you measure yourself across your thighs, across your rear end, across your waist right here, and then go and look at the written article, because it's going to have pictures and measurements that are going to be easier to read and compare with your own measurements, so that you can make the best choice for which size of chair you're going to get. And also, when you're deciding, especially if you're buying for your child, maybe the small size chair fits them the best, but if you expect them to grow in the future, maybe just go with a medium. These seat covers are easily removed. You can add some padding to it, and then slip the seat cover back over the top. And then as they get bigger, you can remove that padding, and then you don't have to buy a different chair. You just have a chair that can grow with a child. So I hope this helps you decide on what size of chair you need. I tried to cover everything between this video and the accompanying written article. I hope you have all the knowledge that you can have without first sitting in a chair. But if you're still confused, feel free to give me a call. My phone number is in the video description below.